The morning sun spills through the half-drawn curtains, painting stripes of gold across my small apartment. I sit on the edge of my bed, staring at the phone in my hand, waiting for the notification that will tell me I've finally made it, my first substantial bonus. Months of late nights, endless spreadsheets, and constant pressure at work have led to this one moment. And for a fleeting second, my chest swells with pride. This is mine. This is freedom, a tangible measure of everything I've sacrificed. I imagine all the possibilities. A trip I've been dreaming about, a small apartment upgrade, perhaps a fancy dinner with someone I love, or maybe even just a moment where I can truly feel, that my efforts mean something. The thought makes my lips curve into a small, anticipatory smile. The email notification pops up. I swipe it open, my heart hammering. And then my world tilts. Bonus credited. The words on the screen seem innocent enough. A simple confirmation, nothing more. Yet when I glance at the bank app, my stomach drops. My bonus isn't there. Not a single digit. Confusion washes over me, followed by a cold, creeping sense of betrayal. My hands shake slightly as I reread the numbers, double-checking my account. Certain that I've made a mistake. It's then that my phone buzzes again, a message from my mother. Used your bonus to pay your brother's credit card. He'll owe you later. Love, Mom. My chest tightens. My lips part, but no sound comes out. I stare at the screen as if it might magically rewrite itself. Later? I whisper to no one. Later? How many times has it been later? The apartment, once warm with morning sunlight, suddenly feels suffocating. I pace, running my fingers through my hair, trying to shake the mixture of anger and hurt that has settled like a heavy stone in my stomach. Memories flash unbidden. Last Christmas, last year's birthday, the countless occasions where my earnings, my hard-earned money, vanished to patch up my brother's reckless decisions. I remember the time he borrowed my laptop, claiming it was only for a day, and returned it months later with scratches like battle scars. I remember the car he wrecked because he couldn't resist showing off. And yes, my bonus, my extra hours of work paid the deductible. Always my bonus. Always my sacrifice. A knock at the door pulls me from my spiraling thoughts. It's my best friend Layla, holding a cup of coffee and wearing that calm, knowing smile that makes me feel slightly lighter. She steps inside without waiting for an invitation. Morning misery, she teases, setting the coffee on my desk. What's wrong? You look like someone just stole the sun. I slump onto the chair, staring at the steaming cup, but not touching it. It's the bonus. It's gone. My voice is tight, brittle. They used it for him again. Layla frowns, her eyes narrowing. Used it for him? Who? Your brother? I nod, bitter laughter escaping me. Every time. Every single time. And they act like it's nothing. Like my hard work doesn't even matter. Like I'm just there to cover the mess. She sits beside me, her presence warm and grounding. Jabir, you've done so much for them, for everyone. But this isn't fair. You deserve your victory, your independence. You can't keep being the safety net for someone else's chaos. I stare at her, seeing the reflection of my own fury and heartbreak in her gaze. I know, but it's my family. They won't listen. They never listen. And every time I speak up, it's like I'm asking for too much. Layla reaches out, squeezing my hand. Then maybe it's time to stop asking. Maybe it's time to claim what's yours without asking. Her words ignite something inside me, a spark I've tried to ignore for too long. A mix of anger, determination, and longing twists together in my chest. It's not just about the money. It's about being seen, being respected, being allowed to stand on my own. The hours pass slowly. I make calls to my bank, check every transaction, and plan quietly, meticulously, how I will reclaim not just my bonus, but my autonomy. My brother calls mid-afternoon, his voice light, teasing, unaware of the storm swirling inside me. "Hey, thanks for the cash." "You're the best." I hang up before I can say anything, fists clenched, jaw tight. The betrayal is personal. It's intimate. And in the quiet aftermath, I realize this is the moment I've been waiting for, not just a moment of frustration, but a turning point. By evening, the city lights shimmer through my window, painting the walls with amber and gold. I stand there, a glass of lukewarm water in hand, watching the world move outside, while inside, my resolve hardens. I will not be invisible anymore. I will not be the fallback, the safety net, the afterthought. This is my life, and for the first time, I understand that the only person who can protect my dreams is me. Dinner is quiet at my parents' house that night. The clatter of plates and low murmur of conversation is deafening. My brother talks incessantly about a new plan, a new adventure, the same reckless charm that always wins over everyone but me. I nod politely, smile faintly, but inside, I am elsewhere, somewhere far away, somewhere I control. Later, as I retreat to my room, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's a text from Layla. "You're stronger than they'll ever let you be. Don't forget that. I'm here." Her words feel like a balm, soothing the sting of betrayal, but also fueling the fire that's been dormant too long. I stare at the ceiling, thinking of possibilities, of plans, of freedom. And somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice whispers, "It's time to bail yourself out." Sleep comes fitfully, heavy with dreams of confrontation and liberation. I dream of walking into my parents' living room and finally saying the words I've kept inside for years. I dream of my brother looking at me not with the careless grin I know so well, but with genuine respect, fearful, maybe, but aware. Morning will come, and with it, decisions I've never dared to make. The city outside my window is oblivious to the storms of family loyalty, betrayal, and desire for independence raging within me. But I am ready to step into it. I will not let another bonus, another sacrifice define my worth. And yet, as I close my eyes for a brief moment before the sun rises again, there's a flicker of unease. Standing at the edge of change is terrifying. I can feel it in the tightness of my chest, the restless stirrings in my mind. Because stepping into my independence may cost me more than I imagined, not just money, but love, approval, and perhaps even the fragile bonds that still hold my family together. Tomorrow, everything begins. The morning after my bonus vanished, the apartment feels heavier than usual, like the walls themselves are pressing down, reminding me of everything I've given away. I wake to the low hum of traffic outside, the world moving on as if my frustration and heartbreak don't exist. My reflection in the bathroom mirror looks unfamiliar, tired eyes rimmed with a faint shadow, jaw clenched, lips pursed in lines of unsaid anger. Coffee doesn't help. The bitter taste lingers on my tongue, mingling with resentment. I scroll through my bank app again, as if a repeated glance will magically make the numbers appear, make my bonus materialize, restore the sense of victory I had imagined just yesterday. But the screen is cold and indifferent, a stark reminder that my efforts, my diligence, my late nights are always secondary. I recall my father's voice from last night, calm and dismissive, explaining that my brother needed it more. Needed it. Not deserved it. Not earned it. Needed it. The word echoes in my mind, hollow and infuriating. Like a cruel joke, I am forced to live. By mid-morning, I force myself to leave the apartment, to avoid spiraling completely into frustration. I wander through the crowded streets, the city alive with the hum of people chasing their own dreams, unaware of the quiet battles happening in small apartments, behind closed doors. Every smile I pass, every laugh I hear, feels like salt on an open wound. I find myself at a small park near the river. The familiar scent of wet grass and early blooms oddly comforting. I sit on a bench, letting the world move around me. Joggers pass, couples walk hand in hand, parents chase children, laughing with pure abandon. I feel a pang of envy, simple, ordinary joys that I have long suppressed in the name of responsibility. Memories of previous bonuses, gifts, and hard-earned savings flood back. Last summer, I had planned a solo trip, a chance to breathe and explore without anyone depending on me. I counted every penny, carefully budgeting each day, imagining the thrill of independence. But 2 days before departure, a call from my mother informed me that the money was gone, redirected to my brother's overdue bills. My dreams evaporated overnight. A bitter laugh escapes me. How many dreams have been sacrificed, stacked quietly beneath the weight of familial obligation? I am a reservoir of unspoken frustration, an ocean of patience stretched thin over years. And no one seems to notice, not really. They see the help I give, but never the cost to me. Never the pieces of myself I leave behind, quietly bleeding into everyone else's comfort. Not my phone buzzes. A message from Layla. Coffee later? I think you need a vent session, and maybe a donut. I smile faintly despite myself, grateful for the lifeline of friendship. She doesn't judge, doesn't lecture. She simply listens, acknowledges the weight I carry, and sometimes that's enough. I type back a terse, grateful reply. Yeah, 3 p.m. at Bean and Brew. The hours crawl. Work feels oppressive. I go through motions of reports, emails, and spreadsheets, but my mind drifts, circling back to the injustice of it all. My colleagues joke about bonuses, promotions, and weekend trips. I nod politely, hiding the storm brewing beneath my calm exterior. To them, everything seems ordinary. To me, everything feels tinged with bitterness, the sweetness of success, swallowed by repeated disappointments, dot by afternoon. I am restless, walking the office corridors like a caged animal. The city outside the window stretches endlessly, full of possibilities that feel forever out of reach. I remember the nights spent hunched over my laptop, ignoring texts, postponing plans, all in pursuit of this exact moment. And yet, the moment was stolen. The victory denied. Finally, the clock ticks toward 3. I meet Layla at the cafe, her familiar grin and warm hug a soft reprieve from the relentless tension of the morning. The smell of roasted coffee beans and fresh pastries fills the air, grounding me. She orders our usual mocha for her, cappuccino for me, and we find a small corner booth. You look like you've aged 10 years since yesterday, she teases, sliding a sugar-dusted donut toward me. I take it, half smiling. Feels like it too, I admit, voice quiet. My bonus. It's gone. Used for him again. Every time, it's the same story. I can't queuing this. Her expression softens. Jabir, I know. I see it. You're always giving, always stepping in, always being the adult in the room. But you have to start thinking about yourself, your dreams, your happiness. I stare out the window, watching rain begin to patter against the glass, each drop a tiny drumbeat echoing my frustration. It's not just about the money, Lila. It's about being seen, being valued. Every time he makes a mistake, I fix it. Every time someone celebrates, it's never me. I feel invisible. She reaches across the table, gripping my hand. Then don't feel invisible anymore. Don't wait for them to recognize your worth. Claim it for yourself, even if it terrifies you. The words resonate deeply, stirring something long dormant. Fear mingles with determination, a cocktail that tastes bitter yet exhilarating. I nod, letting her encouragement settle in, igniting a resolve I've been too timid to acknowledge. We sit for hours, talking, laughing, and venting. For the first time in days, I feel lighter, untethered from the suffocating weight of obligation. Layla listens to my plans, my frustrations, my secret desires to break free from this cycle of sacrifice, offering insight, humor, and unwavering support. Her presence is a balm, a reminder that I am not entirely alone. Evening comes, and the rain intensifies, drumming against the cafe windows like a soundtrack to my tumultuous thoughts. I linger at the table long after our cups are empty, letting the city lights reflect in the wet streets. Somewhere between the fading warmth of the cafe and the chill outside, I realize I am standing on the edge of a precipice. One step forward could mean reclaiming my life. But it could also mean confronting everything I've avoided: my parents' disappointment, my brother's entitlement, and the fear of standing alone. I walk home slowly, boots splashing through puddles, feeling the cold bite against my cheeks. Each step is deliberate, a silent rehearsal of the confrontation I know is coming. My mind churns with scenarios, polite but firm words, fiery arguments, moments where I refuse to compromise my dreams yet again. I envision the mixture of fear and respect in their eyes when they finally see me, not just as the dutiful child, the safety net, but as a person with boundaries, desires, and a voice. Back in my apartment, I sit by the window, watching streetlights shimmer in the wet asphalt. The city pulses with life, oblivious to my inner battles. I breathe deeply, letting the rain-scented air fill me, washing away the residue of anger, leaving clarity in its wake. I have choices now. For the first time in years, I feel the power to say no, to protect what is mine, to build a life that is authentically mine. But even as determination burns, there is a whisper of doubt, a quiet fear of what standing up might cost. Will the familial bonds I hold dear unravel? Will my brother resent me? Will the weight of years of silent compliance erupt into chaos? The questions linger, unanswerable yet impossible to ignore. Sleep comes fitfully, filled with dreams of confrontation, of fire and rain, of voices raised and tears shed. I awaken with the taste of resolve on my tongue and the faint ache of anxiety in my chest. The day ahead promises difficult conversations, emotional storms, and perhaps a liberation long denied. And somewhere, buried beneath the fear and anticipation, I feel a flicker of hope, a fragile, luminous spark that whispers of possibility, of independence, and maybe, just maybe, a life where my dreams are finally mine. The next morning, sunlight filters through the blinds with a softer, more forgiving glow than the day before. Yet the tension in my chest is sharper than ever, a low burning ember threatening to flare into fire. I make coffee in silence, letting the bitter warmth seep into my veins, a reminder that some things like mornings and caffeine are constants at least. But the rest of my life is anything but. I glance at the calendar. Today is the day I refuse to let the pattern continue. Today, I decide, will not be just another repetition of sacrifice, submission, and silent resentment. My father's calls, full of casual requests for money, are met with an unusual firmness when I answer. "Morning, Dad." My voice is steady, practiced. "Listen, about last night?" "Ah, yes, your brother," he interrupts, oblivious to the tremor of resolve in my tone. "He needed the bonus. You understand, right?" "No, I don't," I say, sharper than I intended. The words taste foreign on my tongue, yet liberating. I've supported him countless times, but this time it's mine. I earned it. I deserve to decide what to do with it. There's a pause, the line crackling with tension. I can almost hear my father's internal scrambling, the mental gymnastics he performs to maintain authority. "Jabir, it's family. You understand." No, I repeat more firmly. I understand responsibility. I understand helping when it matters. But this isn't helping. It's entitlement. And I won't fund it anymore. The click of the phone ending the call leaves me trembling, a mix of fear and exhilaration. For the first time, I feel my voice mattering, even if only to me. Later, at the office, my defiance lingers like a shadow, coloring my interactions. I meet Layla for lunch, and her smile is a balm. You sounded different this morning, she says, eyes bright. Stronger. I shrug, a faint smirk tugging at my lips. Stronger or foolish? Hard to tell sometimes. No, she counters. You were clear, and you didn't back down. That's rare. That's powerful. I laugh softly, almost incredulous. Powerful feels like a word reserved for someone else, someone braver, not the quiet, cautious person I've been all my life. But something in her certainty stirs a dangerous, thrilling warmth inside me, a spark that refuses to be ignored. The afternoon stretches into evening. At home, I hear my brother clattering through the hallway, keys jangling, the unmistakable whine of entitlement in his voice. Hey, did you see my new? I saw, I interrupt, cutting him off before he can boast about some reckless purchase. My tone is calm but firm, a shift so subtle it feels monumental. And I need to talk. He freezes mid-step, blinking at me like I've grown another head. Talk? About what? About respect, boundaries, about the fact that my bonus is not your automatic safety net, I say. Each word deliberate, weighted with a certainty I've never allowed myself to claim. He laughs. A short, incredulous bark. Seriously? You're mad about a few thousand? Come on, it's not like you needed it for anything important. Important? The word slices through the room. Everything I've been saving, planning, hoping for, feels unimportant when it's taken for granted every single time. And yes, it's important to me. My father's voice cuts in from the living room, measured and calm, a practiced attempt at authority. Jabir, don't make this about money. Family comes first. I stand straighter, my chest swelling with a courage that surprises me. Family comes first, yes, but not at the cost of erasing me. Not at the cost of my choices, my life, my effort. I won't allow it anymore. The silence that follows is almost deafening. For once, no one interrupts, no one shrugs it off, no one convinces me that I am wrong. I feel a tremor of satisfaction, even as a flicker of fear whispers at the edges of my mind. Defiance has consequences. I know this, but for the first time, the taste of asserting myself is intoxicating. Later, alone in my room, I replay the confrontation in my mind. Every syllable feels electric, every glance charged with new meaning. I realize that this rebellion, this small personal revolution, is not just about money. It's about identity, about claiming the right to exist fully, unapologetically, within a family that has always expected me to be secondary. My phone buzzes again. A message from Layla. Saw the fire in your texts today. Don't lose it. It's yours. I smile at the screen, the corners of my lips curling into something close to pride. Fire. That word resonates. Yes, I have fire, I tell myself. Small sparks now, but enough to light the path I've been too afraid to walk. That night, as the city glows through the window, I sit on the edge of the bed, journal in hand, writing out plans, boundaries, dreams, and frustrations. The pen scratches across the paper, a physical manifestation of my internal revolt. Each word, each sentence, each paragraph is a brick in a wall I am building not to shut anyone out, but to create space for me. For the first time in years, sleep comes late, restless but tinged with a strange exhilaration. Dreams twist and curl around confrontations, heated words, and a vision of myself standing unshakable, unapologetic. And somewhere deep inside, a spark of rebellion grows, flaring brighter in the quiet darkness. The next morning, the subtle shifts begin to manifest in small ways. I decline to cover my brother's errands without complaint. I schedule time for myself before family obligations. I practice saying no without guilt, my voice steady and unwavering. Each action, though small, feels monumental, as though I am reclaiming pieces of myself that have been long buried under duty and expectation not at work. I notice colleagues glancing at me differently, sensing a quiet confidence that had been dormant before. There is power in owning your boundaries, in refusing to be invisible. And for the first time, I understand that this rebellion, this assertion, is not a threat, it is an invitation. An invitation to a life I choose, a life that belongs to me. That evening arrives again. The city hums with life outside my window, neon lights reflecting on wet asphalt from a brief evening drizzle. I sit quietly, thinking of the confrontations, of the choices, of the boundaries now drawn. And yet, a flicker of worry remains, persistent, reminding me that rebellion is not without consequence. My parents will not accept this without resistance. My brother will not forget it. And the path to independence is littered with emotional minefields I have yet to navigate. I stand, looking out at the city, imagining the possibilities, the freedom to spend, to dream, to live for myself. My reflection in the glass is sharper now, eyes gleaming with purpose, jaw set, posture straight. Sparks of rebellion have been lit, and like all sparks, they can grow into a fire or consume everything in their path. Tomorrow, I realize, will demand more courage than today. Words will need to be spoken, lines drawn, and perhaps bridges burned. But for the first time, I feel ready. Ready to ignite the fire that has long been waiting, hidden beneath years of compromise. The next day begins with a quiet determination. I leave the apartment earlier than usual, choosing to walk to work through the narrow streets, letting the city wake around me. Sunlight glances off the windows of high-rises and puddles alike, and for the first time in weeks, the weight in my chest feels slightly lighter. Not free, not yet, but lighter. At the cafe, where I usually grab my morning coffee, I nearly bump into someone I didn't expect. Ryan. He's leaning casually against the counter, dark eyes scanning a tablet, expression focused yet approachable. We've crossed paths before at work, small nods, polite smiles, nothing more. But today, his presence feels like an anchor in the chaotic current of my life. "Jabir," he says, eyes widening slightly in recognition. "Hey, didn't expect to see you here this early." I offer a tight smile, shrugging. "Needed coffee. You?" "Always," he chuckles. Seems like the universe thinks this is our meeting spot. There's something in his tone easy, unassuming, that makes me pause. For the first time, I don't feel like I need to protect myself with sarcasm or keep my walls high. Something about his presence is grounding. We fall into conversation naturally, talking about work projects, deadlines, small grievances, and quiet victories. But gradually, the talk drifts from professional concerns to personal frustrations. I feel myself letting go, sharing in fragments the tension, the resentment, and the simmering rebellion I've been hiding from everyone. "You're carrying a lot," Rayan observes quietly, leaning back. "And you've been doing it alone for a long time, haven't you?" I shrug, attempting to mask the vulnerability, but he sees it. "Yeah, alone, mostly. People think I'm fine because I don't complain, but inside, my voice falters. It's exhausting." He nods, as though he understands completely without needing every detail. "I get it. You feel invisible, undervalued, like your effort is always going to someone else's benefit." My heart catches. It's not that no one has ever acknowledged my struggles before, but Rayan, he doesn't dismiss them. He doesn't minimize. He listens. And listening, really listening, is a kind of intimacy I haven't felt in years. Why? Why are you being so understanding? I ask, almost whispering, the words tasting foreign on my tongue. He smiles, small and thoughtful. Because someone needs to be. And because I see a fire in you, a spark that refuses to die. I can't ignore that. The room seems warmer somehow, softer. Around us, the clatter of cups and hum of conversation fade into background noise. For the first time, I feel like someone recognizes not just what I do, but who I am. And it's intoxicating. We leave the cafe together, strolling along tree-lined streets where the sunlight catches on the wet leaves from last night's rain. I talk more than I have in weeks, revealing not just frustrations, but dreams I had stopped believing in. Solo trips, small achievements, even tiny pleasures I've denied myself. Rayan listens without interruption, nodding, laughing in all the right places, offering insights that are thoughtful, never condescending. You deserve your independence, he says finally, his tone quiet, almost reverent. And not because of anything anyone else says, because you've earned it. You've fought for it every day. The words resonate like a bell in the hollow of my chest. Earned it. Not borrowed, not given, not stolen. Earned. And in that simple acknowledgement, the tiniest bloom of confidence begins to unfurl. As afternoon turns to evening. We find ourselves at a quiet park bench, the city buzzing in the distance, but this corner strangely serene. Rayan leans back, gazing at the horizon. You know, he says, it's easier to face the chaos of family when someone outside it believes in you. Someone who sees you. Someone who cares. My breath catches, a mixture of emotion and something else, something deeper, something warm and dangerous. Yeah, I murmur. I didn't realize how much I needed that. We sit in companionable silence, watching as the sun dips behind the buildings, painting the clouds in strokes of pink and gold. The world seems suspended, like the moment itself might stretch on forever. My chest feels light, my thoughts clearer. For the first time in weeks, I feel the stirrings of hope. And then a sudden gust of wind blows, carrying with it leaves, laughter from nearby children, and the faint smell of rain. Rayan shifts closer, not intentionally, but close enough for our arms to brush. The contact is electric, subtle, but undeniable. My heart skips, and I realize the emotional intimacy we've shared has created something new, something unspoken, vulnerable, yet exhilarating. He glances at me, his expression softer now, curious. You're different when you talk about yourself. Open, not afraid. I smile faintly, aware of the flutter in my stomach. I guess. I just haven't had a reason to be afraid lately. Not with you. There's a pause, heavy and meaningful. The city around us carries on, oblivious, but in this small park, the world narrows to this shared space between us. It feels cinematic, almost surreal, the way light catches his hair, the way his gaze holds mine, the way I feel seen, entirely, in a way I haven't before. As dusk deepens, we reluctantly part ways, walking in opposite directions, but carrying the weight of the conversation, the connection, and the spark between us. I enter my apartment with a strange, fluttering mix of relief and nervous anticipation. For the first time, the world feels less like a battleground, and more like a place where I might carve out space for myself. Supported by someone who sees me. Later that night, I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every laugh, every subtle glance. There's a flicker of something I haven't dared to acknowledge before: attraction. Yes, but more importantly, trust. Trust that someone outside my family can truly understand me, believe in me, and perhaps walk beside me as I navigate the storm of reclaiming my independence. Sleep comes slowly, but the dreams are lighter now. Instead of arguments and stolen bonuses, I dream of conversations, of laughter, of moments of connection that are real and unpressured. And somewhere deep in the haze of sleep, the spark of romance begins to intertwine with the spark of personal rebellion, creating a warmth that is as intoxicating as it is fragile. Morning brings a sense of quiet purpose. I rise with intention, determined to carry the lessons of the previous day into action. Rayon's words echo in my mind. You've earned it. You've fought for it every day. It is a mantra, a shield, and a key all at once. I know the path ahead will be difficult. Family dynamics do not change overnight. Old patterns of entitlement, expectation, and dismissal will test me. But for the first time, I feel like I am not walking alone. Even as I face confrontation, even as my brother's entitlement looms, even as my parents expect compliance, I have an ally unexpected, but real, and that makes all the difference. The evening settles like a quiet promise. Outside, the city hums with life, a symphony of possibility. Inside, I feel the stirrings of courage, independence, and perhaps even love. A delicate balance of strength and vulnerability, of rebellion and connection, and it feels right. A morning light is sharper today, cutting across the floor of my apartment like a spotlight, forcing me to confront what I've been avoiding. I brew coffee, tasting the bitter warmth, letting it settle in my chest like courage. Today, I decide, will not be another day of silent resentment. Today, I confront them. I arrive at my parents' apartment with measured steps, heart hammering beneath a layer of determination. The hallway smells faintly of incense, a comforting yet familiar scent, one that always reminds me of my mother. I pause at the door, hand hovering over the knob, and take a deep breath. No more waiting. No more silent compliance. Jabir? My mother's voice floats through the door before I enter, casual and warm. Coffee? Or did you just come to see your brother's latest antics? I step inside, smiling faintly, but my eyes are sharper than usual. Actually, Mom, I came to talk. My father, perched at the kitchen table with a newspaper, looks up, brow furrowing. Talk about what, son? I set my bag down and meet their eyes steadily. About how my efforts and my bonus have been treated. About how I'm always expected to cover for my brother without question. I need you both to understand something. This stops now. My mother freezes, her hands hovering over the teacups. My father leans back in his chair, a flash of surprise and disapproval in his eyes. Stops? What are you talking about, Jabir? I feel the familiar tightness in my chest, the swirl of anger and hurt, but I let it fuel my voice rather than stifle it. I'm talking about boundaries, about respect, about the fact that my hard work, my money, and my independence are not yours to manage as you see fit. I am not a backup plan, and I am not invisible. My father shakes his head slowly, voice calm, almost rehearsed. It's family, Jabir. We all have to support each other. Your brother needed help, and you. No. I cut him off, sharper than I intended. The words shock even me, but they are true, and they demand to be said. I have supported him countless times, yes, but there is a line, and every time I am expected to erase my own life, my own plans, my own needs. I cannot do that anymore. I will not. My mother sighs, the kind of sigh that carries both sorrow and frustration. Jabir, it's not that we don't see your efforts, but family. No, Mom, I interrupt gently but firmly, softer now, revealing the vulnerability behind the anger. Family is about love and support, yes, but it's also about recognition, understanding, and respect. I love my brother. I love you both. But my love is not permission to take from me, to diminish me, or to ignore my existence. The room falls silent. The only sound is the hum of the refrigerator and the faint ticking of the wall clock. For a moment, I feel the weight of confrontation pressing down on me, threatening to unravel the courage I've spent so long cultivating. Then, my mother's eyes glisten, and for the first time, I see a flicker of understanding, however faint. "Jabir, I didn't realize you felt this way," she whispers, voice trembling. "We know, Mom," I say softly. "You didn't, and that's the point. I'm not angry just at the situation. I'm angry at being unseen for so long. I'm angry at being expected to sacrifice, silently, endlessly." My father exhales slowly, leaning forward. "Son, we never intended. Intention isn't enough." I interrupt again, but my voice is quieter now, vulnerable. "The impact matters. The way I feel matters. And I'm tired of my voice being ignored." My brother slinks into the kitchen then, his expression uncertain, sensing the tension. "Hey, what's happening?" I turn to him, eyes steady, unwavering. "This is about boundaries. About understanding that I am not here to constantly bail you out, financially or emotionally. You have your own responsibilities. I cannot erase my life for yours." He laughs nervously, trying to mask discomfort. "Come on, Jabir. It's just a bonus. Don't make a big deal out of it." I shake my head, incredulous. "It's never just a bonus. It's my effort, my late nights, my sacrifices. And every time, it's taken as if it means nothing." I am done letting that happen. The tension thickens. I see the lines of surprise and guilt etched on my parents' faces, the realization of years of unacknowledged effort finally sinking in. My brother fidgets, suddenly aware that I am no longer the passive sibling. My father starts, then pauses, searching for words. "I didn't understand. We didn't know it felt this way. It has felt this way for years," I say quietly, almost a whisper, but it carries weight. "I've been silent because I wanted peace, because I wanted to help. But silence doesn't erase feelings. It doesn't erase resentment. And now, I need you to see me not just as a caretaker, not just as the one who fixes problems, but as a person with desires, with boundaries, with needs that matter." The room is heavy with the gravity of truth. My mother's hands tremble as she reaches toward me, but she doesn't touch. My father nods slowly, a mixture of sorrow and pride in his eyes. My brother, still fidgeting, seems to shrink under the force of my words. I feel a strange release, a sensation that comes not from victory, but from honesty. I have spoken, truly spoken, and the world has not collapsed. The confrontation has opened a crack in the walls of expectation and entitlement that have imprisoned me for years. And through that crack, light begins to seep in. Later, alone in my room, I replay the conversation in my mind. My chest still burns from adrenaline, my throat raw from speaking truths long buried. And yet, there is a quiet elation, a sense that I have planted the first seeds of change, seeds that may grow slowly into recognition, respect, and even reconciliation. My phone buzzes. A message from Layla. "Heard you were brave today. Proud of you." "Keep it up." I smile faintly, the weight in my chest softened by her unwavering support. Even amidst fear and lingering tension, I feel a spark of hope, a delicate flame that whispers of the power I have been neglecting within myself. That sleep comes late, restless but strangely sweet. I dream of confrontation and reconciliation, of heated arguments and tearful apologies. I dream of boundaries respected, voices heard, and perhaps, finally, the chance to exist fully, unapologetically, within my own life. The night stretches long, but I do not fear it. Tomorrow, I will continue this journey. Tomorrow, I will face whatever consequences my stand may bring. And yet, for the first time, I feel an unshakable truth. My voice matters, my choices matter, and my life finally is mine to claim. The office feels unusually quiet that morning, the hum of computers and distant chatter replaced by a sharp awareness of Rayan's presence. He's seated across from me, fingers tapping lightly on his keyboard, concentration furrowing his brow. But every now and then, his gaze drifts in my direction, and I catch him watching me, subtle yet unmistakable. I feel heat rise in my chest, a mixture of exhilaration and unease. It's dangerous to feel this way, distraction in the middle of work, entangling emotions that could complicate everything. And yet, I cannot ignore it. The attraction has been simmering quietly, unspoken, but it is there. Electric, magnetic dot at lunch, we step outside together, the warmth of the sun contrasting the storm of feelings inside me. We talk about projects, deadlines, mundane topics, but each word, each laugh, carries a weight beyond casual conversation. His proximity sends shivers down my spine. The brush of his hand against mine as he hands me a folder, the way his smile lingers longer than necessary. It's all a thrill and a torment at once. Quiet today, he observes casually, though his tone carries more meaning than the words suggest. Just thinking, I reply, attempting nonchalance while my heart hammers against my ribcage. Work stuff. He tilts his head, studying me with curiosity. Work stuff, right. His smirk is playful, but his eyes are sharp, reading more than I want him to. I flush, suddenly aware of how my emotions betray me. We walk through a small courtyard near the building, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows across the cobblestones. The air is fragrant with early evening blooms. I try to focus on the ordinary, the texture of the stone, the chatter of passers-by, but my attention keeps snapping back to him. The tilt of his jaw, the way his eyes catch the fading sunlight, the warmth of his presence just a step away. You know, he says after a pause, voice casual but soft, I've noticed you've been different lately, more assertive, strong, fire in your eyes. I laugh lightly, the sound tinged with nerves. Yeah, well, someone has to stand up, right? He chuckles, but there's a weight in his gaze that makes my stomach flutter. I know you've always been strong, Jabir, but lately, it's different. And it suits you. The compliment strikes a chord deep within me. Suits me. Recognition. Validation. Something I've craved for years. Finally articulated by someone who isn't family. Someone who doesn't owe me anything. I feel my pulse quicken. We find a quiet bench beneath a blossoming tree, petals drifting in the breeze like tiny pink confetti. I glance at him, feeling a pull I cannot rationalize, a magnetism that is both exhilarating and forbidden. His eyes meet mine, and for a heartbeat, the world narrows to this shared space. Rayan. We shouldn't, I start, voice low, hesitant. Shouldn't what? He interrupts, leaning just slightly closer. The movement is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it ignites a spark that leaps through me like fire. We shouldn't feel this, I whisper, words tangled in desire and fear. It's complicated. My family. Everything happening right now. It feels wrong. Wrong? He murmurs, voice low, teasing but not unkind. Or forbidden. The word hits me like a jolt. Forbidden. Yes, forbidden. And that is precisely what makes it pulse so urgently in my veins. The tension between us is undeniable, charged with the thrill of the unknown and the risk of vulnerability. I look away, heart hammering, trying to ground myself in rationality. It's complicated. I can't afford distractions right now. I have too much on my plate. He nods slowly, understanding or pretending to, though I sense the same pull in his chest that I feel in mine. I get it, but just know I'm here, and I see you. Not just your fire, but everything beneath it, even the parts you think are invisible. The honesty in his voice strikes a nerve. I feel the weight of years of being overlooked, replaced by duty and obligation, slowly lifting. And yet, the awareness that this connection is dangerous makes the heart race even faster. Forbidden, thrilling, and utterly consuming. The days pass in a blur of tension and stolen moments. A brief touch on the hand while passing a stack of papers. A lingering look over coffee in the break room. Casual laughter that veils a mutual understanding deeper than words. Each encounter is a delicious torture exhilaration mixed with fear. Desire tangled with restraint. At night, I lie in bed, replaying every interaction, every glance, every word. My pulse still races, my thoughts tangled in possibility. I know this is dangerous. Rayon is not family, but pursuing this attraction could complicate everything by growing independence. My confrontations at home, the delicate balance I've started to build between rebellion and obligation. And yet, the longing persists. A fire has been lit, a spark I cannot extinguish. Forbidden or not, the pull toward him is undeniable, stirring a desire I have buried beneath years of responsibility. I recall the brief touch on the bench, the warmth of his hand brushing mine. My pulse quickens at the memory, a reminder that the heart rarely listens to reason when it senses connection. I feel a tug in my chest, a magnetic force drawing me toward him, even as my mind warns of the consequences. One evening, after a particularly tense day of work, he finds me outside, waiting for the last bus home. The streetlights cast golden halos on the wet pavement. "You okay?" he asks, voice soft, concerned. I will be, I reply, but my voice falters. Emotion threatens to spill over. It's just everything, family, life, responsibilities. He steps closer, careful, deliberate. "I know," he says, "and I don't want to make things harder. But I also don't want you to face this alone. You don't have to." The words resonate. Alone. I have spent so many years alone, invisible, carrying burdens quietly. And here is someone who offers understanding without demand, connection without expectation. The attraction between us is undeniable, but it's more than that. It's validation, companionship, and a promise that I am not as solitary as I have believed. I glance at him, emotions roiling, and for a fleeting moment, the world narrows to just us. A heartbeat stretches into infinity, a charged silence filled with unspoken desire and tentative hope. And then the distant wail of a bus engine snaps us back into reality. We part ways, each step away from him a small agony, the air thick with what is unsaid, with what cannot yet be admitted. My pulse slows, but the longing lingers, a quiet burn in my chest that refuses to fade, forbidden, thrilling, irresistible, and terrifying. Later, in my apartment, I stand by the window, gazing at the city lights shimmering against the night sky. The forbidden's attraction courses through me, a mixture of fear, desire, and anticipation. I know I must tread carefully, balancing family tensions, personal rebellion, and this new emotional turbulence. And yet, the spark is undeniable. Rayon is no longer just a colleague, no longer just an unexpected ally. He has become a source of temptation, excitement, and emotional awakening. Rain taps insistently against the windows, a rhythmic percussion that mirrors the storm inside me. The city outside glows with neon reflections, but the warmth and hope I felt just days ago have dissolved into a cold, suffocating weight. The betrayal lingers in my chest, raw and relentless, and every heartbeat feels like a reminder of the trust shattered. It began with a message I never expected. Innocuous at first, a forwarded email, a casual note from a colleague. But the content hits me like a freight train. My parents, the ones I had tried to confront and understand, have once again undermined me. They've used information I confided in them to manipulate my brother. to pressure me, to force me back into the patterns I thought I had begun to escape. I read the words over and over, unable to believe they are real. Every line feels like a knife, twisting with precision. The sense of betrayal is overwhelming, leaving me breathless. I had thought honesty could change things. I had thought speaking my truth mattered. Now, I realize how fragile that belief was. I dial Ryan's number, seeking solace, but even his voice cannot reach the center of this pain. Jabir. He begins, sensing the tremor in my tone. What's wrong? They my parents. I choke out, voice trembling. They've used my own words against me. Against me, Ryan. I trusted them. I thought, my words break and tears blur my vision. I thought things were changing. There's silence on the other end, just the faint hum of his phone. Jabir, His voice is careful, hesitant. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. You didn't deserve this. I trusted, I whisper again, the word heavy and breaking. And they betrayed me. Again, how am I supposed to believe in anyone? I know it hurts, he says softly. I wish I could fix it. I wish. I end the call abruptly, unable to maintain composure. I sink to the floor, back against the wall, letting the tears fall freely. My chest heaves as if my lungs themselves are grieving. Every memory of warmth, of trust, of hope, feels tainted now, like ink spilled over a cherished photograph. The room grows darker as the rain intensifies, the shadows creeping across the walls, mirroring the growing desolation inside me. Memories of Ryan's touch, his soft voice, the way he made me feel seen, they flash through my mind, mingling with the sting of familial betrayal. The contrast is unbearable, a cruel reminder of how fleeting connection can be. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time feels meaningless when grief is all-consuming. Eventually, I find myself standing, drenched in sorrow, and walking aimlessly through the rain-soaked streets. Each drop of water feels like an extension of my own tears, washing over me, mixing with the ache in my chest. The city blurs around me, neon lights smearing into streaks of color, reflections twisting like the distortion of my emotions. I stop under a dim streetlight, shivering and trembling. The betrayal is not just a wound, it is an explosion, leaving fragments of trust scattered in every direction. How had I been so naive? How could I have believed that honesty and confrontation could change entrenched patterns of entitlement and manipulation? A text from my brother appears on my phone, casual, oblivious. Did you see the message? You need to fix this. Don't make a big deal. I drop the phone, its screen shattering slightly as it hits the wet pavement. Anger flares, hot and biting, mixing with the despair that has taken root. The betrayal is compounded by the casualness of it, by the way my emotions are disregarded as though they never mattered. I pace under the streetlight, fists clenched, breath coming in sharp bursts. The rain drenches my clothes, but I hardly notice. My mind swirls with conflicting emotions: hurt, anger, disbelief, longing, and a faint, stubborn trace of hope that refuses to be fully extinguished. I remember Ryan's words, his steady gaze, the warmth in his presence. I want to call him again, to seek comfort, to find a safe place amidst the chaos. But fear stops me, the fear that this betrayal, this heartbreak, might taint everything else, that even the sparks of connection we shared might now feel contaminated by the shadow of distrust. Hours later, I find myself on the balcony of my apartment, rain dripping from my hair, soaking my clothes, and yet I feel hollow, almost disconnected from the world around me. The city pulses below, alive, but I feel suspended in a private void of grief and confusion. Memories flood in my first stand against my family,